we fire the Cannon now? Nick Cannon was fired from ViacomCBS after the company condemned anti-Semitic comments made on his podcast. While podcasts aren't FCC regulated, you can still get fired from what you say. So Nash, be careful. I might fire you one day. Cannon claimed black people cannot be anti-Semitic because, quote, the Semitic people are black people, end quote. He also praised the anti-Semitic Nation of Islam leader, Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm having a tough time with last names today. And brought up conspiracy theories about the Rothschilds. Cannon slammed Viacom in a Facebook post saying that he would be, quote, he would not be bullied, silenced, or continuously oppressed. God, we'll get into those comments. By any company. He is demanding a full ownership of MTV's Wild 'N Out, which he currently hosts and produces. He also apologized to a Jewish community and said it was never his intention to be hurtful. So before we go into this, Nash, what are your thoughts on Nick Cannon as a whole? Because Nick Cannon's a very interesting person in pop culture.
Nick Cannon's a goof guy, is a goofball.
Yeah, see, there's two sides of Nick Cannon. There's Wild 'N Out Nick Cannon, where he's just like...
There's the Kids' Choice Awards.
And then there's Kids' Choice Awards host Nick Cannon, where he's like all clean cut.
Because Nickelodeon, for those who don't know, is owned by Viacom. Viacom is one of those... When people talk about like the corporate overlords... Viacom is one of those. They are one of those huge media companies. I don't know. I don't really know what I think about Nick Cannon. I guess I never took him too seriously because the Kids' Choice Awards.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've seen Wild 'N Out. That's a pretty entertaining show. I like that show. It's a good show. But Nick Cannon, I don't know. I don't really have anything against him. It's just I straight up never took him seriously because
he's a goofball. He's such a goofball.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like which Nick Cannon do you believe more, the Wild 'N Out version or the other version? And which one's the real canon?
Yeah.
And I tend to go with like the not Wild 'N Out one because I see the Wild 'N Out one, I'm like, okay, you're playing an act. Like, this isn't you, Nick. What are you doing? But you know, it's like he tries to be hood. And his podcast is kind of the same way from the clips I saw. So Ken spoke to rapper Richard Griffin, that's the last name I can't pronounce, known as Professor Griff, who was previously in Public Enemy until he exited the group in 1989 after making anti-Semitic comments. So you can see 21 years later, 31 years later, nothing really changed.
He got brought back later.
Did he? I did not know that.
Yeah, they let him in soon after. Let him back in.
At the time, he told the Washington Times that he could prove that, quote, I'm quoting here, Jews are wicked, end quote, and claimed that the Jewish people are responsible for, quote, I'm quoting here, the majority of wickedness that goes across the globe, end quote.
Which...
Bold.
I'm pretty sure is... I'm pretty sure that's in Mein Kampf somewhere, if not a few times. That is straight... Dude, that's straight up like Nazi rhetoric.
So
that's straight up Nazi rhetoric.
So in his actual interview with Nick Cannon, his exact words were not brought up, the controversy regarding them. But Griffith continued to defend himself, and Cannon said that Griffith was, quote, fearless in speaking the truth.
That right there is just like, I'm sorry, Nick, you're wrong. You're so wrong.
Yeah.
You're so wrong, because this man said the world's wickedness came from the Jewish people.
And you want to talk about oppressed people.
What? And then he says, and then go on to say what Nick Cannon says.
Quote, I'm quoting here. Don't at me, bro. In order for me to be anti-Semitic, I would have to be anti-black man, anti-black woman, anti-black people, anti-Africa, anti-all of the people, Griffith said. Because the Semitic persons are black people, Cannon added. So y'all get that clarity. The Semitic people are black people. I mean, I'm sure there's some black Jews out there.
People that are black and Jewish.
But Jewish people aren't.
I'm going to get a definition of the word Semitic, because I'm pretty sure it means Jewish lineage.
Yeah, like, is there a difference between Semitic and Jewish?
Anti-Semitic.
So while you look that up, Cannon also mentioned the Rothschilds, a family that is subject of many anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. He mentioned it a handful of times, including after Griffith claimed that Jewish people control 6 main media corporations in America, which is, the Jews own Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Okay, continue. What do you got?
Semitic. This is from Oxford.
Incredible.
Adjective. Definition 1. Relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family. 2. Relating to the people who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic. So, yeah. No, they're not wrong. Because that essentially means that Semitic is defining essentially Northern Africa, Middle Eastern regions.
Okay, so certain black people can be Semitic.
Sort of. Yeah. It's because it's kind of like culturally there's a lot of cultural flow. Because like Egypt, that's kind of the big thing is sort of like that's where, Africa stops and the Middle East begins. But only geographically. It's kind of, it flows. A lot of northern, like in a lot of Northern Africa was Islamic throughout history. So it's like, the Barbary Coast was essentially, I believe, under the Ottoman Empire. That was those were Islamic states. So it's, I get what they're, okay. So that's not wrong.
So is Cannon right by saying I can't be anti-Semitic because I have to be anti-black? That sounds like...
No, because you can be self-hating. That's stupid to say you can't be, but what he's saying is he doesn't...
It's like saying black people can't be racist.
Yeah, he doesn't, kind of, but not really, but it's like saying you can't hate the very same group that you are a part of, which, of course, you can. Look at left extremism in America and right extremism in America too. They are both Americans, but they both hate part of America. So they're self-hating. You can always be self-hating. You just don't sort of see yourself as part of that group specifically.
Yeah.
But no, he's right. The literal definition of Semitic would include, black people.
Okay.
It would improve people. A lot of people. It's a big cultural. That's a huge group of people based off that cultural definition. But nowadays,
it's not just Jewish people.
Yeah, the way we use anti-Semitic is
Jewish.
to mean Jewish people. We use the number 2 definition, not the number 1 definition.
Okay.
Which is bad on, I guess, people as a whole.
Yeah, because I didn't know that. When I thought of anti-Semitic, I only think of Jewish people. Like I think of Walt.
No, exactly. That's why I had to Google it, because I had to make sure.
Okay.
But yeah, he's based off of that definition, he's 100% right.
So when it comes to Nick Cannon saying about the Rothschilds, he says, quote, "Who are they? We speak of the 6 corporations where they go as deep as the Rothschilds, centralized banking, the 13 families, the bloodlines that control everything, even outside of America." That's just a conspiracy theory. There's no evidence to that I know of.
That's sort of, that's conspiracy theory-esque, because it's like, how much agency are you going to define these people?
Yeah. Cannon also repeatedly praised the controversial Nation of Islam leader, Minister Louis Farrakhan, who has long been known for making anti-Semitic comments. Cannon referred to him as honorable and defended him against criticism of anti-Semitism. Cannon also referred to black people as the, quote, true Hebrews. He goes on to say, quote, "So then, these people who didn't have what we have, and I say we speak as one of the melanated people, like melatonin, they had to be savages. They had to be barbaric," Cannon said at one point. Whether it's Jewish people, white people, Europeans, the Illuminati, they were doing that as a survival tactic. The fuck is he saying?
Okay, so
sorry.
Well, yeah, don't scroll. You're bad today.
I didn't think I was going to scroll that far.
I feel you. I take go quick. So there's people who didn't have what we have. I guess the who is we.
Yes, modern black Americans.
These people who didn't have what we have, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people. Okay, so yeah, I guess black people. They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. Cancel whether it's Jewish people, white people, Europeans, the Illuminati. They were doing that as survival. That's very incorrect. For a lot of reasons. You look at those groups, those are just a lot of very different types of categories of people. Go up a little bit. So you have one that's based off of religion, but at one point, yes, it was based off of racial defining features just because of the region. Regional people were essentially... You couldn't... race wasn't necessarily defined there because regions were so small and close-knit, nobody wanted to travel because traveling would get you killed. That, you know, people in that region were defined by that nation, but that also essentially meant genetically too. Mm-hmm. Then you have white people, which is literally a bunch of white people. That could be anyone. Then you had Europeans, which is you got Eastern Europeans, you got Western Europeans, you got a lot of Europeans that could be.
Yeah, Nordics.
A lot of differentiating factors there. So it's not based upon race there. It's more based off of regions and ideology, I guess. So I would say Jewish people has to follow under that. But the white people thing too is kind of confusing because then you're specifically targeting race. Then Illuminati, which is an organization that was against the Catholic Church, they're doing this all as a survival tactic. That's not the case, because many Europeans, yes, have done a lot of things based on survival tactics, but also almost every empire that has occurred from Europe, they weren't doing it off of survival tactics. They were doing it off of sort of glorification of their own people. The Illuminati was the Illuminati really messes with that, because that is a group that was against the Catholic Church. They weren't doing it to survive. Their goal was to burn down Their goal is to burn down Catholicism with enlightenment. That's why they're called the Illuminati, to illuminate. So it seems to me like Nick Cannon and this guy were kind of talking shit, and like they didn't really know what they were talking about completely. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of sort of how this podcast got started, because it was you and me would get super fucked up at night, and then we'd just talk about absurd things. Yeah. And we'd both say ridiculous things. Weren't, always 100% true, but I don't think we ever said anything like that.
No, not like crazy conspiracy things. I mean, we like talking conspiracy theories, don't get me wrong.
We would bring up conspiracies, but
the Jews taking over the world wasn't one of them.
We wouldn't bring up things like that. Again, the Illuminati. We've probably talked about the Illuminati while we were really drunk. Yeah. And fucked up.
Yeah.
But we
but we didn't put it on a podcast and air it without fucking research.
And we didn't mesh it all together, because all of those groups of people
are different.
Are so conflicting with each other and how you want to view them that there isn't really any consistency other than to say they're groups of people.